Mr.
Bond.
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 Bond. James Bond.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another edition of the Ultimate Bondcast, a movie review edition of the Ultimate Bondcast. You're here, of course, again with Mike and Chris. How are we, Chris?
Hello, Mike. I'm all right, mate. I'm excited. I'm a bit spaced out today.
Spaced out, very appropriate.
Get the pun. God, I've been sitting on that all week, mate. But no, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. I'm so glad to be back. And it feels like we were at the bridge of, we were sort of on consecutive weeks the last couple of weeks, weren't we? So we've had a breather, and I think we're recharged for another bout now, aren't we? We're here to ruin your evenings once more.
Yeah. You've had a few weeks off, guys, so be prepared.
Now, I want to show you something really quick before we do it. Totally unrelated to the review or the news or anything, but I wanted to wait. Now, I went to get some drinks so I can sit down and do this podcast tonight, right? And look what I found, right? So,
is this the Coke?
Yes, it's Coke.
Yes.
But it's now, I can't do it on the green screen. Hang on. Where is it? It's First Light Coke.
Put it directly in front of your face. There you go. That's it.
There we go. It's 007 First Light Coca-Cola.
Yeah, man.
So someone's clearly cashing in on the up and coming release, aren't they?
It's like zero. Is it 0 calories, 0 caffeine? Is that where they get the 00 from? Is that the link?
Yeah, 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, 0 calories. So it's technically triple zero.
007.
Someone's not doing some copyright there, are we? But yeah, we'll jump into Moonraker very shortly. But before we do that, shall we have a look at what's happening, Chris, in the world of Bond news?
Let's do it, mate.
Let's go. Woohoo! And look, we've got a studio now, Chris. Look at that.
My
so cool.
God, what is going on in the background?
I wanted to wreck you off, mate. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to really wreck you the moment you came in.
Do you remember those? I saw videos online. It was like a rage a few years ago. There was like this rage of like having this lightsaber thing where people would do lights and music where they would do. Do you know what I mean? What I'm talking about?
Raves and glow sticks and.
No, I'm talking about. There was like these videos where people would have like VR headsets on and they would have like these sticks and they would have to time them with lights while the screen was moving towards them.
Beat Saber.
That's what this looks like. Yes, that's what this looks like in the background.
Well, I didn't intend that to happen, but absolutely.
No, I'm just saying. If
that's a marketing tool, I will take it, Chris.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, on to the news, guys. We have got some pretty. Take it with a pinch of salt, but we've got some news relating Bond 26. So we know, obviously, the Peaky Blinder writer is writing Bond 26. However, he's been a bit vocal online and give us some snippets. So let's just see what we've got here. There's 2 slides, Chris. I'll read the first one if you want to do the second one. Do you want to do it that way?
Yeah, if you want, mate. Yeah, I saw he was in Birmingham last week as well. I think that's where a lot of these quotes have come from.
He was. So, basically, we've been got an upcoming review on the James Bond franchise with the screenwriter saying he's been enjoying every single second of the pre-production process. It was announced in August that Knight, who also created SAS Rogue Heroes and 1,000 Blows, has been hired to pen the screenplay for the 26th film in the long-running Spy series. With acclaimed filmmaker Denis, and forget me, Chris, is it Villeneuve? I can never pronounce him very well.
It's neither Denis nor Villeneuve. It's
Denis
Villeneuve.
There we go. So I know it's French. Denis, I apologise in advance.
It's fine.
He's on board to direct. Though we don't have a title yet for the film or an actor to play 007. Knight shared during the appearance on BBC Radio 4 today that progress on the up-and-coming film is going swimmingly.
Oof,
that's it's an interesting how we would look at that, really, isn't it?
But, and is this for me to read now?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just sort of get it out there.
I'll go for it. I can't really talk about what I'm doing with Bond, but I'm enjoying every single second of it. It's fantastic. I'm loving it, he said before he heaped praise on Ian Fleming's collection of novels. The books are so good, so underrated as literature. There's something about the world that he created that is tangibly real, and yet it's not real. It's almost dreamlike somehow, and I just love the style of how he writes, and
that's where it stopped. That might be a break on the
Don't know where the rest of the quote is, but I can finish it if you want. I can make it up.
What I think, though, Chris, from that, I'm not sure if you take it the same way, but it tells me he's very Fleming orientated, this one. And that's got to be a good thing, right?
Don't know. I feel like they tried to be really Fleming heavy with Daniel Craig, and I feel like he's been quite a polarizing Bond. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think there's a lot of elements of Ian Fleming's work that wouldn't work today, and I think there's some that would. So I don't know myself.
Definitely some views. I mean, I'm still hoping for a timepiece Bond 26. You know, like in the
me too. I mean, that'd be great.
50s or the 60s. That could be possible with the idea of Fleming being very much in the forefront.
Yeah, but, maybe.
You know, now
love it.
We know First Light is on the horizon, don't we, with the Bond gaming? Okay, now I have found two sort of, one's a pre-alpha and one's a trailer of Bond games that didn't make it to cut. So I really thought just to share these with you. Now, one's quite funny, one's not so funny, it's more serious. So let me show you the funny one and see what you think of this one. So this is actually Lego James Bond that never made it to production.
Oh, that would have been a great game.
I don't know why they canned it.
The Lego James Bond would have been so good because they could have done like Legends and just had it across
and rehash it and everything, you know. But yeah, here's Lego James Bond. So what do you think of this?
The name's Bond. James Bond.
James.
That looks cool. Why that didn't make it to production, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have played the hell out of that.
I would, and you know, I'm the first to admit I will play a Lego game and not be, you know, sort of bothered by the franchise it's covering. You know, like for example, I like Lego Marvel, for example. That was pretty fun. So the fact that
I played Lego Jurassic World. I platinumed that. I loved that game.
Oh, well, that'd be a good one. A good one. I should revisit that one maybe. But I've just had oh god, what's the wall called? Is it Forever Horizon or something? It's the sort of like the way you're fighting mechs. That's come out in Lego quite recently. I've been enjoying that as well.
Nice.
Second game for you, Chris. Now, do we remember Bloodstone with Daniel Craig?
Yeah, of course I remember Bloodstone. Yeah, it was kind of a run and gun, third person, Gears of War, wasn't it? It was like a cover shooter.
It absolutely was. Now, there was a scheduled follow-up to that game, Risio, but it's part of one of Ian Fleming's books that, again, never made it into full production. But there is enough footage for us to piece something together. So, have a little look at what you think of this. That, I don't know. I loved Bloodstone. Why we didn't get that follow-up, I don't know. But the gameplay looks great. The takedown, so brutal, right?
Yeah, I mean, hello as well to Bobby's346. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. It's good to see you. I mean, yeah, it looks fine. I wasn't a massive fan of Bloodstone in that I didn't like the gameplay being sort of a run and gun shooter. I liked, I mean, I like Bond games to have a little bit more stealth in them. But I would, definitely would have played it, and it looked like a follow-up to it, and yeah, the takedowns looked brutal, definitely.
It's pretty solid, you know. But yeah, I just want to share those with you because obviously First Light's coming. It's very gamey orientated, so gets us all excited for that to come. But that, my friends, is Bond news. On to our main event, Chris.
Is this the review of the Coke?
Yes, so it's a black can. It's got gold writing on it, and it's made, would you believe it, by Coca-Cola.
Okay. Which we're not sponsored by, but I mean, if they want to sponsor us, that's fine.
If they're that sad, but yeah, there we go. But like, do you remember in our last show what I said there was going to be a surprise when we did Moonraker review, and you said we're going to be in space. We are.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But it's quite an outworldish movie, so let's go for an outworldish review for it, shall we? And we'll have some nice space ambience. So, yeah, main event, Moonraker. We both watched it this week, didn't we? I watched it Monday and you watched it Tuesday, was that right?
Was, mate, yeah, correct.
Can you just tell me, right? Give me just a very few words, right? Because let's be honest, Moonraker is not the go-to Bond film. You don't see it in a case, in your DVD case, and go straight to it. But give me your just a very initial opinion of the movie now you've watched it very, very recently. Very brief.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a solid Bond movie. I always have. I think it's visually stunning. I think it's one of the best looking Bond movies ever. I think it looks amazing on screen. I think that it's probably a movie that's, I mean, it's a silly movie, isn't it? In some ways, the plot's a bit ludicrous, but I have such a blast with Moonraker.
I would completely agree. The thing is, right, I didn't have a very big, high opinion of Moonraker. I won't lie, it's not my go-to film. I suppose I've always looked at it as bigger and better within the catalogue of Bond. So when I watched it for the first time, and a bit like we've admitted in our previous reviews, because we're watching them chronologically and we're now looking for things that we didn't notice, I finished that movie for the 800th time in my life, and I just went, that was actually really good. I didn't know what I was expecting. Maybe I was expecting not to like it in that way.
Well, it sounds like it. If you were surprised by the fact that you did, is it take it it's a Bond movie that you haven't gelled with before then?
Not really, and that was my surprise. Maybe it's maturity. Maybe it's just a different angle that we were taking with the film. But look, the Roger Moore movies are renowned for being a little bit more outlandish, a bit more comical, a bit more light-hearted. And people forget that there are some solid, cold moments with Roger Moore that he does play very well. He's just not renowned for it. If you told me Dalton or Daniel Craig, you go, yeah, the cold, dark, brooding, brutal Bond. But there is some moments that Roger does really well, and some of them are in Moonraker.
Yeah, there are. I mean, I actually think that Roger Moore has a lot of cold moments, and I think that maybe because we associate with him with the light-hearted, campier Bond, that we forget that. But you can pick cold moments out of every single one of Roger Moore's movies, and he sells them so well.
And we were quite shocked by that. We went to go and see A View to a Kill, didn't we, at the review in October in cinemas. And we come out going, there was a real tone shift in that movie. Not like we were expecting to be. There was a cold, darker moments in those films that we didn't think we were looking for, and we were very pleasantly surprised. So we'll dig into them very shortly. But let's jump into Moonraker first in terms of Mr. Moore. So Roger Moore's full film, Chris. How do you find them?
Yeah, I think he's really hit his stride by the fourth film. He's totally comfortable as Bond, and I feel like he plays better with the characters around him. And I'm sure we'll talk about M later. But you know how I felt like they didn't really gel before, but I feel like they do in this film.
He's think a bit brash with M, isn't he? Bernard Lee at times, but it does change.
But Bernard Lee seems to take it better now. I think he knows what kind of movie he's in, whereas maybe in Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, maybe he didn't really know that was the tone of the movie. He was still in the Sean Connery sort of era. But yeah, no, I think Roger Moore is again, I really do have boundless respect for Sir Roger Moore. I think his Bond is so easily dismissed as being the sort of funny, campy Bond, and he really isn't. He is so good at selling the action, so good at selling the romance. He's so good at selling the intelligence of a secret agent, all of the things that he knows about space travel and about all these about the G-forces when he's talking at the beginning when Goodhead's showing him around. He's excellent in this film. Really is excellent. Maybe maybe we start to see Roger Moore getting looking older in this film. I do feel like I sat there a little bit and thought I can see a few more wrinkles on him. But
that's probably fair. I mean, look, the bottom line was Roger Moore took over as an older actor from Connery.
Yeah.
So, he is going to age a bit quicker for that reason. But look, no, I'll straight with you. I completely agree. Roger Moore is very much in his stride. I think he was always confident from the moment we saw him in Live and Let Die. But we do see it progress a little bit more as we go along his journey from there. And for me, this is a bit like, I used to treat it as a bit of a precursor or a rehash, if you like, of The Spy Who Loved Me in certain ways, because they found that The Spy Who Loved Me was such a successful film. And then they were under pressure from the likes of Star Wars to try and use that formula, but modify it to you have a bit of space involvement on it. So to bring Roger Moore's seriousness at areas into this movie, it's very good. I mean, there was, just to give you a very key moment, there's a moment where he's in the machine that simulates the gravity, it's spinning round. I think that was done with no comical intent. I think it was done very, very well. I think some of the fight scenes, he portrays a colder, darker version of Bond, not just somebody that's got a quip or two halfway through the battle. So I think he hit his stride. I think his confidence is off the scale. And he's an absolute pleasure to watch on screen. And like you, sincere respect for Roger Moore.
When you brought up the when he's in that I can't remember the name of the machine but simulating the G-forces, I love that scene. I think it's a fantastic scene, and he comes out of that machine totally cold, like really he's quite happy to not look like the suave secret agent when he comes out of it. His hair is a mess. He's sort of half leaning on Dr. Goodhead. She's trying to help him up and he's pushing her away.
It's like, no.
Yeah, I don't need you. I don't trust you at all.
Yeah.
But when he's in there and he's I love the flashbacks he's getting to Q and to M when he's thinking about using the wrist mounted dart.
Yeah, that's like gadget, by the way. I like that.
It was a really good gadget, and it should have come back because it's such a smart gadget for a secret agent to have. But I love those sort of flashbacks. You don't really see that in Bond, where we see what he's thinking. And I sort of went, "Oh, that's not something you see in these movies." Is those kind of surreal, seeing into his head kind of things. So I love that. I think it was a really cool moment.
I agree with that, actually, and that brings him onto a good stage role because you mentioned Q, so let's go on to the MI6 crew in this movie because we've got Lois Maxwell and Bernard Lee, and I know you've got your opinions on Bernard Lee's M and how it's portrayed. So, how does it feel having seen this is the last Bernard Lee movie? Bear in mind, how does it feel, sort of from Dr. No to now, and the differences for you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Bernard Lee's really good in this movie, actually. And we see Bernard Lee, well, I'm going to say M from now on, but we see M do a lot more in this movie than we have done in previous movies. I saw a stat when I was watching the movie and I was looking through IMDb or whatever.
Yeah,
this is the first movie that he ever came face to face with the main villain of the film. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. I just don't know why him and the Secretary of Defense are going to arrest somebody. That seems like a really odd thing to do, but
that's an expensive plane ticket, isn't it? Just
yeah, I know, right?
But
yeah, so I really enjoy him in this movie, and I do think he softens. He softened a bit in A Spy Who Loved Me, and he softens more in this. Like it's more of a playful banter with Roger Moore's Bond, whereas at the beginning in Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, you felt like genuine irritation, like animosity between them, which you don't feel in this. So I like it. More familial, sort of banter, and I like it. So yeah, I really like M in this. I think Q has the absolute dirtiest line in any Bond movie in this, this movie. Like
last line.
The last line in the movie, and I'm sorry for going there now, but like if we're talking about Q, that line is borderline totally inappropriate, but I love it. I think it's tempting re-entry, sir. And
I think I nearly spat my drink out when I heard that line. I was in mid-drinking at the moment, and
so I think it's fantastic. I think they're great. I think Moneypenny has very little to do, and I feel like I'm going to sound horrible here. I feel like she really looks old in this film. She's Lois Maxwell is obviously she stays throughout Roger Moore's tenure, but it feels like in this film she really does look her age against Roger Moore. But I suppose they're both aging at the same rate.
I completely agree. She has got, as usual, all too brief role, but probably more brief ever. However, I do like that the two encounters with her is after Bond's had some ludicrous escape, and she almost doesn't believe him each time. No. She's like, "Oh, what took you so long?" "Well, I fell out of an aeroplane." And then the second time, "James, what took you so long?" "Oh, well, I fell after an ambulance and never mind."
I especially love, when we're talking about M, that moment in Venice after they sort of botch the attempted arrest of Drax, and the Secretary of Defense says, "You got to take him off their case," and M's like, "I do have to take you off the case, Bond." And then they have that sort of lovely back and forth about like, what are you going to do, when really he's sanctioning him to go off the books. Oh my god. He's sanctioning him to go off the books, and I just love that little back and forth that they have. I think it's a really cool moment, and shows that they're on the same page now, whereas, like I say, it's felt in previous movies like they're not on the same page. But it's the sort of thing I'd expect Judi Dench's M to do as well. It's that kind of, I feel something for you, and I know you're going to do what you need to do, and I can just trust you innately.
I trust your instincts, and like I said, Bond knows he's got to treat it, as a mission. M's got his orders as much as Bond's got his orders. However, we can sort of like hush, and try and still work the case, and I will disavow it basically from there. So I think Bernard Lee's M is actually a welcome return to this movie, but not really fair to say was it a good time to retire him. I don't think it's ever a good time to retire an actor, but it was probably a nice swan song for his M to have after the last time we see him, really. So that's quite nice, Let's go into the obvious moves now, Chris. Villains, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, we've actually got three, haven't we? In a way, we've got Drax. Jaws obviously comes back. What was his little stooge's name before Jaws came in? I forgot it. What was his name?
Was it Chang?
Yes, you might be right there, actually. I'll Google it in a minute to find out for you. But I mean, look, you've got like the Tales of Two Halves, haven't you? He literally has a henchman in each half for the movie. Yeah. So, talk me through it. Whoever you want to go for first, Chang, Jaws, or Drax. Talk me through it.
I don't really have a lot to say about Chang. I think he's kind of a throwaway henchman. He's fine. I don't dislike him. He's just sort of a guy that glares and walks slowly whilst looking at Bond. Drax. So I'll focus on Drax first because he's the main villain. I like Drax. Drax is kind of a cookie cutter Bond villain. There isn't a lot of like charisma about Drax. I think he's probably one of the more forgettable elements of the movie, actually. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him, but I don't think he's great. I think he's bad. He's just.
Do you think
he's just there?
Is he related to Peter Dinklage? Do you reckon?
He looks like he could be, doesn't he? He looks like he could be. But it's like creating this master Aryan race whilst looking like, middle-aged geography teacher. It's an odd one, but like he's fine. I mean, what do you think of Drax?
But you're saying this right. Drax, to me, is not the deepest villain in the world. We don't really know a lot of any back history. We know he's clearly psychotic. That's evident, But it sort of goes into what I said earlier about, the sort of rehash of The Spy Who Loved Me. In essence, he's doing what Stromberg was doing, only he's attacking her from space, not from the sea. So in the way that this is definitely the era of the Bond films where you have the truly psychotic villains, So I like the fact that he's larger than life. I like the fact that, did you notice how he's always wearing a similar sort of, at the end, a very similar suit to Blofeld?
I did notice that, yeah.
Like a callback, if you like,
I mean, like we know that they didn't have the rights to the Spectre villains at this point, so I do feel maybe he's a little bit like this would have been perfect if this was Blofeld. This is a Blofeld plan, and it feels like he's a stand-in for Blofeld.
I will pick up on, by the way, hi to Istvan the Hun on YouTube. Thanks for watching us. We'll go into the Mandela.
We will talk about the braces. Don't worry.
It is well known. We'll be going through it very shortly.
We will. I'm sure we're gonna come on to Jaws in a second, so I'm sure we can talk about that definitely.
Indeed. Yeah. But look, the thing is, he's a psychotic. He's a very rich man. He's got friends in the government, and it makes him a target almost in the way a bit like Elliot Carver, where MI6 don't want to go after him because he's too influential at times. So that's a nice nod. I quite like that. But the downside to it is he's in space. It kind of just detracts from the immersion for me at times a little bit. If he actually had a stealth boat, Elliot Carver, I'll be okay with that.
I really like Elliot Carver as a villain, by the way. So, like, you made a really good point about how it felt like he was very similar to Stromberg. So, like, the director Lewis Gilbert directed 3 Bond movies. He directed this, he directed The Spy Who Loved Me, and he directed You Only Live Twice. And for me, they are all the same movie.
And
you know what I mean?
It's the second saga of the man drinking out of the wine bottle, looking terrified.
Yes, it is as well. Yeah, absolutely. And then they obviously thought, well, we need to keep that now that we've put that in there. So I don't think it's. So the thing about it is that I don't think Lewis Gilbert is particularly great at directing Bond movies. You know how I'm not a massive fan of You Only Live Twice. I know you were more of a fan of that than I am. His movies look beautiful, but I feel are like really like static. They're not great from an action perspective. But we'll talk about it. I think he nails the space stuff though, and we will talk about that.
I do agree with that. The cinematography, the way they do it, like the French chateau in the middle of California, and the helicopter ride, and even the shuttle on top of the plane, the way that was done, it just looks to me well presented. And I said to my wife, why does it feel like, even though it's in a space film, it's a Bond film, why does it feel like somewhat better than some of the recent space movies? In its charisma, I suppose, it's sort of repertoire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about the space stuff now if you want, but like, I think this movie is beautiful. I had to pause it a few times. The miniatures in this film are incredible. The miniature of Drax's Moonraker base, the one on land where he's building, where he's like building them,
because we can see him next to it.
Yes, So when he's flying over it in the helicopter, it just it looks like, it just looks fantastic, and I just paused it to look at it for ages. And the same as when they're in space, the miniatures are just as good as Star Wars for me. Some of them look even better. The glow of the Earth in space, the blue hue that the Earth has, it just looks, and that's clearly down to the cinematographer. And I wish I knew who made the miniatures, and I'd shout them out as well. But fantastic. It looks amazing. The whole movie looks amazing.
I would agree with that. It looks amazing, but do you know what? It didn't sound amazing, because I think Shirley Bassey's tune didn't hit the nail, if I'm being honest with you. I know that song so well, that considering she's done Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, music-wise, brilliant. Absolute masterpieces. But this is never a high-ranking Bond theme, is it? Let's be honest.
No, it's not. Definitely not. I forget that Shirley Bassey's done 3 Bond themes sometimes, because it's just not. It's a very forgettable. I think the music and the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack to this is quite forgettable as well. Other than that one little, which is a classic sort of.
Oh yes, sorry. What, it was the Connery music, wasn't it?
Yes, which they reused for this. So I like that they reused that.
I forgot about that in the boat chase. Yes.
I love that they brought that. I mean, that's the only part of the soundtrack that I really love. The rest of it is kind of, there's no moments like that in it. It's a bit nah.
Even the Bond theme itself is a bit wah in this one. Do you reckon? It's not very high octane. I mean, do you remember the gun barrel for The Spy Who Loved Me? That theme of the Bond, and you had like the ski bit. It was on the mountain, dang, 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 dang. It felt really gritty. This felt a bit like you had an accordion, and you just sort of.
I thought that when it played.
Very dreary. This is my worst rendition of the Bond films.
It's the last time this Bond theme's used as well.
I think it is, because we go into For Your Eyes Only. It's totally different, which is, by the way, a phenomenal rendition. Absolutely brilliant.
Can't wait.
From there.
You've taken us off on a tangent though. You wanted to talk about Jaws and Drax.
Oh, we did. Yes.
What do you want to start on Jaws?
Jaws. Right now, Jaws. Let's be honest. What a joy! What a joy to have that guy back. And we're cheering the villain on. We're going, oh, we just pushed Bond out of an aircraft, and we're like, go Jaws! And it's so weirdly conflicting, isn't it? You know,
it is.
It's great to see him back, and Richard Keel's wonderful. And the irony is, he is one of the nicest men in the world. When you look at his interviews and Roger Moore's recounts of him and everything, he is just a wonderful, wonderful guy. So to have him back was and just think, you know, we didn't see him die in The Spy Who Loved Me. So I'd love if I don't know if they kept it that secret back in the day, but if they did go, you know, Jaws is we're not going to mention anything about the movie, and then he just turns up at that moment when he pushes Bond out the plane. The audience must go absolutely, forget my French, fucking ape. Way, he's back, you know? Do you reckon?
Yeah. It's great to have him back. I think Richard Keel is fantastic as Jaws, and I just think he's a great little character. It's a good way to play off Bond. You know, he's somebody without the suave sophistication, without communication. He just is like an immovable object. So I really like when Bond comes up against him. I do have problems with Jaws in this film, though. I really, really don't love the love story angle. I do think I do find that disappointing.
I will go with that. However, that love story did save the world. So you could sort of argue how that came about at the end.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. As a plot, it's just
plot hole. Yeah. But
it's quite dark that they just die. They're just like Bond's like, yeah, sorry, Jaws, I can't disconnect. So pop that Bollinger and blow up.
Could you just pull that pipe out for me? And then,
could you help me? Could you help me while you die? You and that innocent woman die because I wasn't bothered. I'll just close the chute up and start the engine.
Never has the phrase been more popular of pull the ladder up, Jack, and sod the rest, isn't it?
Doesn't he say something like, oh, they'll be all right, it's only 100 miles down to Earth, and it's like
they'll make it. Now, if I'm not mistaken,
okay, James doesn't say another word. He just sort of whistles a little bit. When
that pod jettisons across, though, it's not going down, is it? It's going across.
Yeah.
It's going across space. So I don't think that's going to end up in Earth. And maybe I'm going to be wrong on a point I was about to say, because I was going to say he's the only villain that Bond has never actually killed. But
technically, I think he did. A totally intentional, mate. I think he knew what he was doing.
That was a sly move. Save the world, destroy the villain at the same time. From there. Oh, but I will say one thing: villain deaths. I think Drax's death was really quite good. I liked how that was done. The whole, yeah, I was about to say Roger Moore is the only one that could deliver that line in quite that same way. You know, and the fact that but the jettison approach, you know, open the airlock and he flies out. I think, like cinematography wise, that doesn't look old. It doesn't look like it's aged at all, really, does it?
No, it really doesn't. Like I say, the whole movie looks like it was made yesterday in places. Like the stuff in space is unbelievable.
Let's talk about the action sequences, because we've got a few sort of key ones in this show, Chris. So we've got we'll go through. We've got the parachute one at the beginning, skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Bond Q-boat chase, the new Q-boat, or the first Q-boat, if you like.
Mm.
We've got the cable car fight, and then we lead to space. So, I suppose it'd be logical to say, what was your favourite one out of those four?
I don't know. I really like the cable car.
Choice, isn't it?
I really love them all. There's something about the cable car that also makes me think of like the Golden Gate Bridge at the end of View to a Kill as well. You know, it's a great scene, and it's the fact that it's just the two of them against Jaws. Great scene, really like that one. But I mean, love them all. You know,
totally outmatched as well. Bond knows he can't beat Jaws. He knows that. You know. And I don't think there's anybody that can beat Jaws, if I'm being honest, on a one-to-one. Do you reckon?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is. But as we were on Jaws, though, a minute ago, were we not going to talk about the Mandela braces?
We should actually, yes, go back to action in a minute. So the Mandela braces. Now, Chris, just fill us in. For those of you who are not aware of this phenomenon, talk to us about it.
So in general, I have to, I'm going to sound awful now. I really hate the term the Mandela effect because it's just crap that an author made up to explain stuff. You're remembering stuff wrong is basically all it is. But effectively, the Mandela effect is when you remember something and a group of you, like a large proportion of you, remember something a certain way, and it turns out on evaluating it that it isn't the way that you remember it.
Never happened, allegedly.
Don't say allegedly, mate. It's not allegedly. It's not an alternate universe.
I love these people. So another argument for the Mandela effect for people out there, and it's I don't believe it anyway.
It's the argument.
They make out, some people have made out, ironically, that the world ended in 2012 when it didn't, apparently, and we entered some new realm of time and space, which is complete trash, obviously, but that's how some people are justifying the Mandela effect. Now, there was a guy I watched, Chris, that watched the Mandela effect in Moonraker, which ultimately, so just to fill you in if you don't know, this is Jules' love interest, the lovely blonde girl with the pigtails and the glasses and so on.
And the braces.
And the braces. Now, that's the Mandela, because everyone's going, oh, Jules fell in love with her and she fell in love with him because they both had metal teeth. And when it zoomed in on her teeth, the camera, the idea was we would see her braces glimmer in the sunlight. Now on rewatch, everybody's like, where's the braces? Why does that not land anymore? Why do they fall in love? I mean, he's not an attractive man, let's be honest. No offense to Richard Keel, but George is not an attractive guy. So what did this girl see in him? So in some ways, I was convinced up until I saw this guy, I can't remember his name on YouTube myself, I watched this, and he got a VHS player, Chris, right? And he got a 1979 VHS of Moonraker, right? Because he was convinced that the DVDs had been doctored or changed or edited or whatever. So he got an original and he live streamed it on YouTube while I was watching it. And he's like, here it is, here's the moment. Yeah, right. And no, like he really flipped out over it. Now, we know the Mandela effect is a lovely convenience, but it's rubbish, bottom line. But to me, I don't get why the attraction was there now, because the Mandela effect isn't real. Why did she fancy Jaws?
I mean, who knows? You can't control who you fall in love with. He obviously had. Maybe he reminded her of his dad or something. I don't know. But
that's
who
even
knows?
More creepy, you know that.
Yeah, I can't make it more creepy than a man with metal teeth and a 4'10" blonde girl in pigtails.
It looks like your dad. Yeah,
it looks like your dad. But yeah, I mean, I will confess that I remembered her with braces as well.
I did, and that's the most shocking thing, because now I can't work out why it was attractive at the time. What made it work? But
you just got to believe in love again, Mike.
But as with at that moment, Chris, as well, we're at that sequence, aren't we? Let's go back to the cable car. We're halfway through it from there, right? So you said it was high stakes, quite literally high stakes, from there, and an outmatched fight. What made it quite charming to you? Because I think charm is a good word for this sequence. Or did it, shall I say? Or if not, I'll tell you why I think it did.
No, you go first. But yeah, you go for it.
It's charming because it's dangerous and deadly, absolutely. But Jaws, it's just like he's a funny guy coming up on another conveyor belt. And it's when, he's on the other side of the cable car, they're looking at it.
And he jumps.
Yeah, and but Bond even initially smiles, goes, like, as in, shit. It's got. That's what I mean by charming. There is a charisma to that moment, and
they do smile at each other quite a lot in this movie. And like, every time they see each other, Bond just kind of just go, good to see you again, Jaws. Are we having another fight now? Are we?
Jaws must be. Can I just say, must be so pissed off at him at this point. The amount of times he's been foiled or knocked out of a train or whatever.
Can I also say, like, I wouldn't hire him as a killer. Oh. You've had 2 movies to kill this one guy, and you can't do it. No, I'll get someone else, thanks.
Do you know? I wouldn't hire Jaws as a killer.
You're rubbish, actually, Jaws.
because think of the dental plan to maintain those teeth. That
Crazy.
is just it would cost me more than it costs to build a space station and to maintain those metal teeth.
It's unbelievable. I also remember when we were talking about the cable car chase, there's a moment where he jumps and he just sort of, oh, okay, you can't see me now, but like he jumps vertically, just jumps up, and it just looks ridiculous. But you know, he can't move very well, can he, Richard Keel, in this? But
No,
it's a great thing to watch.
Although, can we mention that, surprisingly enough, despite this movie having space at the forefront of its movie, there's quite a lot of water sequences. We've got the Q-boat and we've got the gondola, which was a really good Q gadget.
The gondola was great. The bondola, yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Yes, really good. Loved that scene.
Totally impractical, but still, they are sequences that you watch it and it just makes me smile.
Yeah,
you know, just to see the comedy of it. I mean, you know the bit where he enters. What's the square called in Venice? Is it St. Peter's or St. Mark's Square?
St. Mark's.
St. Mark's, and he inflates the rim below it that lifts the gondola up.
Yeah.
It's like that on the slope, ever so slowly going up. The guards are just watching him. They can even shoot him. Yeah. They could just shoot him, looking at him right there and then. You know, he's not far away. He's not moving quick. You know, so I mean, despite plot armor, he ain't really getting away, is he? You know,
no, he really isn't. He really isn't. But it's a great segment. I mean, should we? I don't know if you want to talk about the beginning at all as well, but that's such a fantastic scene. Again, wonderful.
Skydiving was great.
Hey,
skydiving was brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Really well done.
Lewis Gilbert obviously loves directing James Bond with
parachutes.
Parachutes jumps. Yeah.
I think the thing is that's really done well right now. You could argue with some of the later films this didn't work, but obviously they have to do quite quick cuts, don't they, to almost obscure the fact that that's clearly not Roger Moore doing the skydiving. I wouldn't ask him to do it either, to be honest. So don't shoot me for that. But the quick cuts. Now, if you compare that to, say, the cut fight scenes in Quantum of Solace, there is a style to the cut. They're both quick, they're both rapid, but this felt like it flowed nicely, almost like you're orchestrating music to go alongside it. Whereas Daniel Craig was rough and ready, to hell with it. It looked like somebody was just learning to use a camera for the first time. This felt it worked, and it was enough to obscure the stuntman's face so you can believe it's Roger Moore.
Yeah, it was well cut. I agree with you. You know, the cuts are quick. Yeah, I really like the scene. I think it's a brilliant fight up there. Love the little back and forth between him and the woman before the fight starts as well. It's a cute little scene. And
the line from Moneypenny, it's on his last leg, sir.
He's on his last legs. That's it. Where was Jaws hiding as well? I want to know that.
Yeah, I don't get that. Or if so, how long was he hiding in that toilet for?
Yeah, and thank God no one else needed to go.
An aeroplane toilet is not a big place to be, and that's a big guy, you know? So, hey.
Istvan the Hun says, don't be mean to Quantum of Solace as well. I don't think we were. I think it's just a different style of hand.
Comparatively. Right? It's comparative.
I think the thing with Quantum of Solace was that it came at a time when it was that very much Bourne-inspired, handheld, shaky cam kind of world, where I think the quick cuts felt more brutal than they did in this.
I think they did as well. Oh, and hi to Lorenzo, by the way. Lorenzo, nice to join us.
Hey, Lorenzo, good to see you again.
It's one of his guilty pleasures, Moonraker. And look, I think that's what I don't know if you've seen the show so far, Lorenzo, but that's what we've just been admitting. This is a film that Chris really does like, but I was expecting not to like. Actually, had such a joy watching it. So, you know, that's the sort of spin on it, if you like, really. The other action sequence, Chris, before we get to the finale, of course, now, is the Q-boat that he takes through the. Is it through the Amazon? Is he on?
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Because it was in Rio. Well, maybe it would be the Amazon. I think it's the Amazon. Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah, he gets down there to try and find the flower, which is where the poison comes from, isn't it? Ultimately, from there,
yes.
That fight That battle scene was brilliant. The fact he was just cruising very gently, rocking the boat here and there, and then it erupts into a speedboat chase, a bit like another live and let die chase. I think it was brilliantly well done. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I love this. I love all the stunts in this movie. He's very good at shooting stunts, and like I said, Istvan the Hun with a comment that just popped up there earlier as well about directorial flair. He's very good at directing stunts. We've seen it in The Spy Who Loved Me as well, and I just think that the way that he shoots action is I think I've said to you on the ground, I think it's quite static, but I think when he's doing stuff that's moving very fast, it works well.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. And I think that's a point to bring out that all directors have got their strengths when they are making a Bond film. And you can sometimes judge them for their faults, but sometimes they bow out because they realise this one wasn't for me, as a director. So that's probably a good way. You said it's the last one of his directed films as well. So maybe he felt like his time had come.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they go on to John Glenn after this, don't they? And he does 5 in a row. So,
which, in fairness, are some of the best ones coming up very shortly. I think bridging into the Dalton era and all that sort of stuff. There is really.
I think maybe Octopussy is a bit of an outlier for me, but For Your Eyes Only, View to a Kill, Living Daylights, and License to Kill are all brilliant. Pretty good movies.
Very good movies. Not flawless, but good films.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And that's something that we'll take away from this, because obviously we'll move on to Few Eyes Only next, and we'll see an evolution of Bond a bit more from there. But one thing I will just take you to last before we finish, though, Chris, is obviously the final bit in the space station, the sort of elephant in the room that we've been holding off on. Talk me through how the finale pays out to you. Does it hit the spot, shall I say?
I love this finale. I think it's a great. It's such a great set. Ken Adams sets in this movie, especially the space set and that set at his lair before they go into space, where he first sort of meets the master race of the 2x2, as he says. Both of those sets look incredible, but the set in space looks phenomenal. I think that the scene is great. I don't love the laser guns purely because I sometimes they sound great and sometimes they don't make any sound, and they look a bit dumb. I'm not a massive fan of that, but I think that the rest of the scene plays out brilliantly, kind of like it does in The Spy Who Loved Me, though, I suppose, as well, on Stromberg's. I mean, it's as we said before, Lewis Gilbert knows what he wants to direct, and it's normally a really large set where Bond and the Bond girl are hiding behind bins while stuff explodes.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it comes from. And you could argue that he always likes Bond to be in a battle amongst people, not just on his own against all the villains. So
yes.
That's his style to go for. But I do like it. I mean, look, the overall battle, yes, it's laser guns. Yes, it's a very quick flight into space. It seems a little bit overdone, but I did enjoy it. I like the character designs. I like the space station, the way it looked. It didn't try and echo Star Wars, if I'm being honest, in that way. It looks very real, very human, very sort of like appropriate to the era. But the one thing to take away from this is the fact that despite it being rated, most people look at it as sort of one of the not go-to Bond movies. This stacks up. Here we are in 2026, nearly 40 years later. And it's a real joy to watch Moonraker from there. That's what I would personally take away from watching it this week.
It is a joy to watch. I think it is what you make it. If you go into it expecting, Shawshank Redemption, you're not going to get it. You're getting one of. Yeah. I mean, Roger Moore summed it up in his interviews as well. He knows it's the most ludicrous plot out of any of his Bond movies, but he loves this movie. He's not ashamed of it. It's a great example of 70s movie making and them pivoting to catch. All the way through these Roger Moore movies, we talk about them chasing gimmicks, and they do it a lot, and they do it better than others sometimes. Whether it's that they see the Dukes of Hazzard and they want to make something like that. In this film, he's dressed like the man with no name from the Fistful of Dollars trilogy, and they even play the music, and so they always do these things in his movies. So
I think those nods work in Roger Moore. I don't think another Bond could do it in the same way.
You've got like Surfing USA and View to a Kill, haven't you? So they do that in Roger Moore's films. They can be a bit more silly and you still love them.
Now, we have got something really important to do now, guys. And for those of you on the chat and watching this video later on, put in the comments, we need to rate Moonraker. We've been rating all of the Bond films as we're watching chronologically.
Before we do, mate, there's a really big part of the movie we've not talked about yet.
Oh, sorry, have I missed one?
Yeah, Bond girls.
Oh, my word. Right. Lois Chiles. Now, there's only one, isn't there, realistically? Lois Chiles, I think she's wonderful. I think she's a really... she's beautiful. She's capable. She's not a damsel. I don't think she gets caught at all. Very believable agent, I think, personally. I think she's a great side role to Bond in this movie,
Yeah, I think Dr. Goodhead is one of Roger Moore's better Bond girls. I think that there are better, obviously, in the franchise. I think she's really good in it. I think she's beautiful as well, Lois Chiles. I think that she plays it very, very well. There's something about the later Bond movies where you start to see that it's them voicing them and it's not somebody who's dubbing them, that actually makes it easier to watch as well. I don't know if you agree, but she acts really well. Sometimes they get Bond girls that have, done modeling or swimsuit modeling and can't really act. But she is fantastic in the movie as an actress as well. She's very, very good.
I completely agree. She could act, and that comes across well. That's why I think as a character, forgive my French, I bonded with her as a character.
Yeah, I love her. I love her bickering sarcasm. She's very dry and sarcastic at the beginning when she's showing him around the production facility and the sort of training facility. She's very, very good at feeling like he's mansplaining, and so she bites back at him a little bit, or maybe he's like, "Oh, a woman," and she's kind of deserved in being she's deserved in being as mean to him as she is. So yeah, it's great. Love her. But I do want to give a shout out to Corinne Dufour as well. Stunningly attractive woman. She's brilliant in this movie as well, in the short role that she has.
But very good role, I will say. She's very, very beautiful. I will say that.
And she's really good in the role as well. But obviously doesn't last that long. Love how dark that scene is where the dogs chase her into the woods, though.
That was actually quite brutal. I think the way it was filmed, and that's what I mean by there's cold moments in some of these films that you wouldn't assume it is in that movie, So, but yeah, look, Bond girls have got a great place in this movie, and it's definitely demonstrating the evolution of the '80s Bond girls.
Yeah, I think so.
Just around the corner,
She's kind of that first Bond girl with backbone, '80s Bond girl, isn't she?
No longer a damsel, so to speak, and very capable, and we will see that in the next film, which, by the way, I'm so excited to do. By the way,
good. Excited to do them all, mate.
Ratings, Chris. So let me just show you guys where we have stacked up before.
Let's do it
on our listings here. So we've gone from Dr. No all the way through to The Spy Who Loved Me, and this is getting tougher, isn't it, Chris? As time goes on now, don't you think?
I think they're always tough, aren't they? It's trying to see where it fits with other movies, but I think it's just good just to give it a rating. I'm going to let you go first this time because the last 3 times you've just gone slightly higher than me on every film.
Yeah,
so...
you feel like I'm copying you, right? Okay.
No, not at all, not at all.
I'm going to give this one a fair rating. It's not. I've said it before in this review. It's not
the best Bond movie, but it's a good movie.
Good, solid film, not flawless by any standard. But if I have to go with a fair rating, based on the fact that The Spy Who Loved Me was significantly better than this film, I would probably put it down to 7.2.
7.2. So you prefer it to You Only Live Twice?
It's solid. Yeah, I think it's solid.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that's a fair score.
What about you?
I love how you say you don't enjoy it as much as me and then give it a really high score. I'm gonna give it a 7. I've given 2 movies a 7 already. I can't put it above On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I couldn't do that. But,
this is what I mean by it's getting tougher because we're now being victimised by our previous ratings.
Previous scores. Maybe we shouldn't look at our previous scores, but it's a good movie. I enjoy it.
Maybe we need to take some look at sort of like definitions of what makes a 1, what makes a 4, what makes a 6, and so on, really, because it's quite sort of balanced, really. So yeah, we're both in the same sort of region. We're both looking around a 7 for this movie. So I think it's fair, and frankly, bring on For Your Eyes Only. That's what I'm thinking, which we'll do Sometime in April, or if not May, depending on the bank holidays.
Yeah, I will definitely get to it. We've got to, because we're doing View to a Kill in June, so we need to.
Chris, have you got anything that you would like to plug with these guys before we bid our farewells this evening?
I don't think so. I think thanks everyone who's subscribed so far. We've just hit 200 subscribers on Instagram as well, so thank you to those that have subscribed on there. Just come and hit us up on all our social platforms. It helps us out massively. Please drop a subscribe on the YouTube channel. It's hugely helpful. And on my Geek Figure Fan channel, I have just ordered a James Bond Daniel Craig figure, so I'll be reviewing that in the next few days.
I'll be checking that one out, mate. Thanks, Chris.
But yeah, over to you, mate.
On that basis, guys, now if one Moonraker is not enough, okay, catch Moonraker 007 Legends. It's coming up on the channel in about 20 minutes. So join me for that one. We're going to play the full chapter of Moonraker on 007 Legends. So it's a double back night of Moonraker if one wasn't enough for you. So check it out. It'll be going up on the channel very shortly. And if you want to keep it up to date with us, guys, hit subscribe on YouTube. Go and tap us up on there. You'll get all the updates of our shows, our reviews, our gameplays coming through. And more than anything, we just want to thank you for the engagement we've got from everybody since we've started. It's been absolutely phenomenal and overwhelming. We're one more view than we ever thought we would hit. So, we're really pleased with that one. And just keep bringing more of the same. Apart from that, guys, I think we're safe for the one more thing this evening. Is thank you for watching the Bondcast.
The ultimate Bondcast.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.